Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. Join Reiki Master and Quantum Healing expert Wes Coons as he guides listeners through the depths of self-discovery and spiritual enlightenment to uncover the version of you we haven't met yet.
Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back. We have a special guest today, my good friend Diana. We've waited for you for a long time to come on the show. Welcome.
Hi. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
It's only taken us a year to get you here.
It's called divine timing, my friend.
No, is that what it's called?
It is never late.
Yeah.
It's never early. It's always right on time.
I think it's just waiting on a lady to show up.
It's a busy lady.
Yeah. So thank you for coming. And for those of you on the show, if you haven't listened to the first two seasons where we talked about the haunted house and stuff, this is my friend Diana. You were my first girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right? And we were like 15 and 16, something like that.
Yeah.
That was, 2 or 3 years ago? maybe 5. But we've known each other a long time. And
going on 40 years.
I remember as a kid thinking, I wonder what it's going to feel like when we can say those things, right? And I don't know. It just feels weird. Time just goes by. But it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. So you said when you came over today, you've listened to all the episodes in the last couple of days.
I have.
Yeah, that was weird.
You've been in my ear for a good week listening to all 5 seasons, but I wanted to catch up on knowing you in a little bit of a different level. And I did. I found some things out that you think you know somebody, and then you hear their story and you listen to their awakening, and you find all of these awesome healers that you've had before me. And I've learned a lot about other people and what's out there and what's offered.
Yeah,
it's been awesome.
About 6 months ago, I decided I was going to go out and meet other healers in this market. And I've really enjoyed that because I've had some of the most powerful women I've ever met in my life sitting in that chair right there, right?
Super cool.
Including you.
I get to be one of them.
Yeah. Tell me this. You were there through the haunted house. You were there through all of that. I mean, was it real?
It was real, Wesley, because you were questioning your own beliefs. You were questioning your own psychics, right? You are seeing things and hearing things and experiencing things, and you're thinking you're crazy. And then you have family and friends who think you're crazy. And then I come over and I've known you for so long, and I know you're not crazy. And I've had some experiences with my own paranormal, I guess, if you want to, or seeing and feeling people that have passed on and those souls revisiting. So I know it to be real. And then I see with my own eyes.
Yeah, you could see them, couldn't you?
The smoke in the hallway, the figures' faces on the walls, the fear that was there, the bedroom that was safe, the noises that were downstairs, watching the cameras live on your phone, knowing that it really was there and it really was happening so that you could feel that you weren't losing your mind.
Yeah, because that was a real conversation piece, I didn't know what was happening. My family wanted me to be institutionalized, and I remember having a conversation with my sister, and I said, I will go if you can explain what's in the pictures, right? And they kept pushing that envelope, and finally I said, hey, wait a minute. If I'm not mentally sound and I own the company, then that means I probably shouldn't sign paychecks, right? And then all of a sudden they believed me.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny how that worked. And they said, well, we believe you. We believe in that stuff. I was like, oh, do you?
Right.
Yeah, thanks. But I could appreciate that. They're just worried about me.
They were. And I was worried about you because you would call me and tell me the pain and the fear was so much that you just didn't think you could stay on the earth any longer, and that you really thought that, as you have said multiple times, a permanent solution to a temporary problem was going to be to end your life. And I said, no way is that happening because you're not done here. You had just had your awakening. You had just started to learn you had gifts. And that just meant you had so much more to offer here in this world. And I needed to convince you that staying here was to experience this was part of the deal. And so I can remember entering the park, the KOA, I think it was, down in Virginia Beach, and we were going to go grab something to eat because I needed to get you out of your head for a little while. And you were staying in a camper, and you said you felt me arrive. And I'm like, that's incredible for you to have a gift like that, to know that I'm coming, right? That's real. That's not cray-cray that people thought you were. That's like real shit right there. So here I'm arriving, and you know that I'm here, and you're telling me where your campsite is, and that I arrive at this camper, and this clean, neat, organized home that you've always lived in was in complete disarray. And the place was a wreck, and there was food items all over the place, and you could barely walk on the floor. You had clothes everywhere. And then here's you and Kennedy trying to live in this space that showed the fear and the pain that you were experiencing. So we got you in the shower, got you cleaned up, got the place cleaned up, jumped in the car, and we went for a drive, and we went down to the beach, and we had a conversation, and we talked, and we did the things we always did as friends, right? To bring you back to, I don't know why this is happening to you. Nobody knows why this is happening to you at this stage. Now, later, we can look back in hindsight and figure that maybe your gifts just needed to come in faster than you were allowing them to prior to, but in that moment, at that time, we didn't know why it was happening.
No, we didn't. It's painful for me just to hear that. No? But thanks for coming for me.
Absolutely. I come for you every damn day of the lake. Every day. I will always be here for you. And we had our awakening with about 8 months apart, right? You told me you did this Reiki class. And I'm like, what the heck is a Reiki? And you told me to Google it and look it up. So I did. And about 8 months ahead of my own awakening. And then I started experiencing things and seeing things and knowing things. And you and I went through this together. I feel like you had a little bit of a head start, but then I started seeing my own things and feeling my own things. And then I knew the deep-rooted pain that I've had as a kid and the deep-rooted pain that you had as a kid. And we're going to go through this together and figure it out. You had to work on people and practice your Reiki after you healed yourself. I was listening. Like I said, I've listened to all these episodes in a real short amount of time. And you were not able to get scheduled for Reiki 2 because you hadn't worked on yourself with Reiki 1. But then when you got to start practicing, you took my gastroparesis that I suffered from years away from me. And I went in there with, I don't even know what you're going to do. And I don't know what I believe and what I don't believe, but I'm just going to lay here because I trust you and I love you. And I'm going to let you do what you need to do because you need to practice on somebody. So here I am.
Sure.
And then you take this crazy sword from a prior lifetime right out of my abdomen. And my pain was gone. Everything was gone.
That's one of the things I see the most is the last day of somebody's life in a previous life, and that injury or whatever, for example, the sword, has caused problems in this lifetime. And I've seen bow and arrow coming out of somebody's chest, where people have been decapitated and things like that, where they've got chronic neck and back pain, or if anybody is afraid of fire, they've definitely been burned in a past life. If nothing happened in this life, it's a past life thing. Yeah, it makes it interesting.
It does. But trusting in you and knowing that you had these awesome gifts and abilities and you would make a difference with me every time we'd work together. And you just kept showing me over and over again that this is real. This is really happening. You're really helping me. You have a purpose. And I don't know where we're going from here, but it's freaking incredible because this is some stuff I've never experienced before in my life. And I'm laid here going, wow, you're pulling stuff out of me and I can feel it. And then I'm feeling better. So it was motivation for me to also want to continue on with my healing journey and my awakening.
You're quite the healer.
I have done some pretty incredible things, surprised myself, but I really feel like it's the beings, God, divine, universe, whatever people call it, I call God is a state of being, and God is, in my opinion, who created me and who listens the most, who's always with me, who never leaves me because he's a part of me, he or she, but has worked through me. And I've done some phenomenal things with other people that are mind-blowing to me. I'll give you an example. One of the kitty cats in my barn, I have a farm and I have 3 horses and 16 chickens and 3 parrots, 2 cats, 2 dogs, and I wasn't believing myself. I felt like I had to go to a little place in Virginia Beach called Spiritual Relics, where I knew that there was portals and there was all kinds of beings. And if I wasn't in that building, I wasn't able to see and feel. And I had to be shown that I was capable of doing things on my own and independently. So I had a kitty cat who had, you know how cats have like several different lids when they close? Okay. So one of the inner lids was swollen. And I go out to feed the kitty cat, and I'm about to leave for the weekend because my husband's cousin's child had just passed away from leukemia, and I was actually going out to her celebration of life in Asheville, and I was driving by myself. So I was leaving for the weekend, and I go out, and this kitty cat's eye is all swollen, and I'm like, what is wrong with this cat? And I'm digging through all my stuff to see what I have for ointments to be able to put in her eye and try to heal it, and then it dawned on me, put your hands on the cat and heal the cat. You don't need medicine, just do it. And that came from nowhere. So here I am picking up this little kitty cat, and I'm putting my hands all over her, and I'm feeling the energy come through me, and I'm asking for all the beings to come in and help me heal this cat in her eye. And then I, again, not trust the fact that I was capable of doing it, second guessed myself, which is where I was at that time, and told John, my husband, hey, make sure you check the cat's eye because I'm not sure what's going on with it. I remember him calling me, I wanted to say, because it was like a 7-hour drive, so maybe a couple hours before my destination, and he's going out to do the feed for the evening, and he's picking them both up and he's looking at both the cats, and he's like, well, which cat was it? There's nothing wrong with the cat's eye. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm really sure. And then I'm like, wow, did I do that? I healed the cat's eye? That is super cool. I had a friend who, she was going through something. Her husband had passed away in a vehicle, had a heart attack, and she was supposed to be in the car with him. And so she was having some guilt associated with the fact that he died and she wasn't with him. And then her husband's wife had ovarian cancer, and she had passed away, and she was a really good friend of mine, and I took care of her because I am a nurse and I was in oncology at the time. And so they ended up finding their way back to each other, which is a beautiful thing to see the two of them together. And she was going through this really emotional breakdown because another member of our Parrot Head Club of Tidewater had just been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. So it brought back a lot of emotion. So I had stopped by to see her, and she was going through, she had Raynaud's, where that's where your skin gets white and cold in your feet. And she had implants for boobs inside of her body, and she was having that toxic shock site back. It's what happens when you put something foreign in your body to some people, not everybody. And her skin was starting to get really tight, and she was having this really bad reaction. So the outcome of that was she couldn't stand, she couldn't go up and down the steps. Her skin was tight. She had pain all the time, and so she would basically sleep the day away. And the only reason she got out of the bed that day was because I was coming to visit. And so she wanted to know what I was doing with my life. So I had this conversation about how I was taking Reiki and what that was and what that meant and how it made me feel and how it had changed my mindset and how I was looking at things in a totally different light. And she started to cry because she was having problems with her son and they weren't communicating very well. And she was so super sad that somebody else was going to have this disease and take their life. And she was just like a wreck. And the more we talked, the happier she got. And then she started moving her hands back and forth like a fist and undoing a fist and doing a fist and undoing a fist. And she's like, Diana, look at my hands. I can move my hands. And I'm like, I'm healing her with my words, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. Because again, divine intervention is showing me that I'm this healer, that I can do these things. And I have to believe in myself, and I'm being shown, here you are again, the ability to heal someone, and you're doing it with your words, and you're not even putting your hands on them. Because all I knew was the art of Reiki and how I was trained and how it's about hands and breath and doing things in a precisional type. You start at this chakra and go to this chakra and this arm and this leg, and you move around a body and you do all these things. And I'm like not even bringing in Master Usui. I'm like having a conversation, and she's healing, and she stands up out of the recliner and she goes, I've never felt this good. And I can't even tell you how long. I want to go up and down the stairs.
I remember that.
This is a house down in the Outer Banks where everything's elevated, right? You have to go up like 3 sets of stairs to get to the top. And she's like, I want to go down the stairs. And I'm like, can you go down the stairs? So she ran down the steps, and we got down to the bottom. And she said that her knee was still feeling a certain something. And so I put my hands on her knee, and then she's like, now I need to go back up the steps. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? And this woman just felt like incredible. And so her husband reached out to me like when he got home from work, and he goes, I don't know what you did, but thank you, because I have never seen my wife so vibrant and full of energy and happy and upbeat. He said, "It is incredible." And I said, "Yeah, you're welcome." I did that. And wow, that's incredible. And that was sort of the beginning of me understanding that I can heal people and I can be very successful at it because I have that divine presence with me that comes through me. So I'm not claiming it as me. I'm claiming it as I believe enough in the ability that we can do this.
And I think even without you talking to her, just the energy that you carry, that vibration raised hers, cleared the energy or removed the block or whatever that was. When I picked Sydney up from the airport, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, I guess her neck was hurting or something. And we weren't even out of the airport parking lot. And she looked at me, she said, "Daddy, are you working on me?" I'm like, "No, why?" She said, "Well, my pain is leaving." I'm like, "Isn't that interesting?"
It is interesting. And the way that I relate to that is when I've just met you and you say, "Okay, I know that you know how to do Reiki and I would like to have a session with you." I believe that our beings already have a communication. They're already working together. It's already like team effort, right? And so it begins before we ever get in front of each other. And that whole party in the room of beings that are doing a healing. And I find more and more now with healings that I do, I'm asked to step aside. Never had that happen before. And I get to watch these incredible beings come in and do the work. And I'm over here like, I need some popcorn. I'm watching. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'm not the one doing anything anymore. I'm just presenting the opportunity.
Well, Lakota said something to me a while back, and it made sense. She said, once you make the commitment for the ceremony or the healing session or whatever, the healing starts. The angels come in, and I've had so many clients reach out and said, "Hey, are you working on me already?" I'm like, "No, why? What's up?" She says, "Well, once I set the appointment with you, I started to feel better." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that happens."
Yeah.
And is it the energy flowing through us going to them? Is it, I think it's their belief. I think that they've said the words, "I want" or "I need help." And those are the most powerful words because they open up a portal. They open up the energy for the divine to come in. And they may not even know that that's what they're doing. But I know when I ask for help, God hears my words.
Absolutely.
Every time. And when I pray to him, I like listening to Joel Osteen, and Joel said, "Stop begging him to heal you. Of course he wants to heal you. Don't ask him," because I used to say, "If it's your will." It is his fucking will, right? It's his will. Hey, I'll just sit there and say, "Hey, God," and I'll hear him and say, "Yes." And I said, "Will you heal me?" And he says, "Yes."
Yes.
And he'll say, "I will."
Yes.
You know, if I need something in my life, I ask for it. And he will say, "I will."
Absolutely.
And
do you know what's beautiful? I remember when I was starting to hear, and you used to say, "I don't hear things like you do." Look at you.
yeah,
Look at you. Because you are.
yeah, things are definitely changing for me.
It's incredible.
Things are changing.
It's incredible to see.
Thank you. And one of the things this last 5 years has been so difficult for me, and I started to become this hermit and hiding from life and hiding from people. And if I had healing work to do, of course, I'd go do my healing work and I would do the podcast and stuff. And other than that, I would stay away from people. And I kind of got to this point where it would become so overwhelming for me with things, I would start ghosting some of my friends. And the last couple of weeks, I've really been looking at that and going and making an amends to people and saying, "Hey, you know what? I ghosted you," or whatever you want to say it. And I want to apologize for that. And it wasn't anything personal, even though it affected you and hurt you. I didn't have the bandwidth to be present. And I also wasn't, I don't know, I want to say man enough, but that just makes that a negative. But I didn't use my words and say, "Hey, friend, I appreciate this. I just don't have the energy to be present right now. So thank you for inviting me to something," or whatever the deal was. And so there's this guilt and shame, these little pockets of guilt and shame that I was carrying, because if I were to see them out in town, I knew what the deal was. I'd hurt their feelings. And so it's been really nice to go and seek these people out and apologize and make an amends. And one of the ladies was Jessica. She was on the show last night, and I talked about it in the previous episode. Then she was here, and I apologized to her. And she's a wonderful, powerful person. It's just nice to clear the debris that is in the back of on your path or whatever. There's debris. And I've noticed since I've been doing that, and I wasn't expecting this, but I feel like my vibration has really grown from doing that. I mean, it makes sense that it does, but I didn't do it for that to happen. I did it because it's the right thing.
Right.
And I cared about these people, and I'm like, I'm tired of doing the same old thing. I'm tired of going down this rabbit hole, because how am I supposed to be this healer if I can't go deep enough? And I try to go deep all the time. I try to heal things and do things, and that was something I had been avoiding, and I'm glad I'm not avoiding it anymore.
I think truth and honesty about your feelings in that moment, about why you can't be present, is huge, because the old Wesley was looking at his watch, looking at his phone, trying to come up with the excuse why he can't be where he's at, telling whatever came to mind about why you can't be there. Your dog was sick. You didn't feel good. You had some place to be. You could never be present in the moment.
Yeah.
And again, listening to all these podcasts in a very short amount of time, I've heard and felt the energy change in you.
Thank you.
Something has happened somewhere along the line to your benefit, because it's a huge difference the last 5 or 6 episodes that I've listened to, because I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I think things are changing. Almost 2 years ago, I walked in the emergency room with a 277 heart rate.
Remember
right?
that too.
I can promise you, if your heart beats 277 a minute, it's a little painful. And the nurse said, hey, you walked in, and as I walked through the door, I dropped down to a knee for a second. And she put that little monitor on my finger, and she yelled out 277. And the nurses move fast when they say that number, right?
They do.
And later on, they said, usually our patients flatline at 260. I'm like, Marines are like cockroaches. We're hard to kill. That's been a bit of an issue. I had a couple procedures for AFib, and
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
You had a device in your body and you didn't even know how to connect with it.
Yeah, I still have that device there. I don't like it, but
it's there because it's peace of mind for you. It's the way for them to check on you.
Yeah. And once the battery dies, we're taking it out. And the doctor says we're not. And I'm like, well, doc, there's a couple opportunities here. I said, one, you guys can just cut it out and we'd be done. Or the other is we're going to start drinking and we're going to cut it out ourselves. And he just looked at me. He said, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I'm not leaving it in my body the rest of my life. Now, would I actually do that? Probably not. But I love how the doctors predetermine what they're going to do and you don't have any choice about your body. And I'm not leaving this foreign object when the battery's dead to stay in my body. There's no point in having it there, right? But since the last procedure, things haven't been right. But something happened after Glenn died. Since Glenn died from AFib, that my heart's just been working right. And the funny thing is the doctors looked at all these tests and he says, son, I can't see a problem. I don't understand the problem. And I just think my heart's been broken for so damn long. That was the problem.
Absolutely. Because when you were telling me all the problems you were having, you're on Lakota's mountain and you couldn't breathe, or your heart's going to jump out of your chest, or you're out here and you're blacking out. Instantly, I knew that there was nothing wrong with you physically.
Yep.
I knew that it was energetically.
Yep.
And I knew once you had to work through your path and journey to figure it out on your own, because nobody could tell you that, that you were going to be fine. Again, you've had to go through some serious experiences to wake your ass up.
I might be a little hard-headed.
You think? I don't know where you got that from. Boot camp, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know. You were hard-headed before you ever left for boot camp, so.
Yeah, there's that. But yeah, it's been interesting. At the same time, the issue with the heart, and it just kind of popped in my head, happened when I started making decisions to be authentic and step back from certain groups and certain people. And because I had people in my life that I wanted to be friends with, but didn't give a shit about me. And I would always reach out, oh, hey, how you doing? And I would just accept it when they wouldn't reach back. And they were ghosting me like I was ghosting other people. And that's where this came from, was I'm like, I'm doing to people that the same thing that I don't like to have happen to me. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. And so when I started making that decision to do something different, that's when my heart stopped hurting.
So the question that's coming into my head as I'm sitting here listening to you is, what makes your heart happy, Wesley?
Doing this work, doing this podcast, doing the Sunday Preach, No Shoes Required. We're going to step into the no guilt zone, and we're going to talk about God and spirituality and, how you are created by God and you're this beautiful being, and we're a spiritual being in a human body trying to figure this thing out. And I am making choices in my personal life and my business life to make some changes and all that stuff. And 6 months from now, there's going to be some really big changes in my life, and I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about it too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And so I don't know. So let me ask you this. The whole paranormal thing, the 9-10 months of that, was there anything that really stood out to you that just seemed ultra significant? I mean, because obviously you had a different view of everything than I did, but you loved me, you were friends, we've been friends for a very long time. And I know you were watching even when I didn't think you were watching, but what stood out to you?
So you were always, especially in high school, you always wanted to beat everybody up. You were this tough guy, right? Nobody could cross your path, or you were going to threaten to beat them up, right? Because you were this tough guy. And this experience showed me your vulnerable side. Mm-hmm. It showed me the fear that really did exist in you, which in my opinion made you even more human and like me than before. It's always being the tough guy, right?
Yeah.
And really watching you discover things about yourself was an incredible experience for me to see with you, because of knowing you for so long and for knowing you for so well, and knowing that you're finally accepting things about yourself that anybody else would have accepted had you allowed it to come through before.
Sure.
Right? And truth and honesty, people that are truly supposed to be in your life and they're meant to be there alongside you are always going to be, no matter what. However, I believe people are put into your life for a reason. They serve their purpose. They leave. Or those people that stick around and are not going to go anywhere no matter what happens, tell a good story, right? Mm-hmm. So each of us look back and think, man, that person was my friend, and what did I ever do? Well, why am I even questioning that? Why does it matter? If I can learn that that person gave me what they were there to do and they're not there anymore, it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a worry. It shouldn't make me second guess myself and look in the mirror and go, what the heck did I do? Why aren't they my friend anymore? Mm-hmm. Right? So you say life happens for me, not to me. And I say life happens through me, not to me. And it's the same thing. It's just a different way to look at it. Absolutely. And it's just so fun to hear you say that all the time. And I'm like, I say something similar. It's kind of the same. But I feel like this experience with you and watching you really be the true person that you're meant to be, and you were able to peel back that onion, right? Mm-hmm. And you got down to the core of Wesley Allen Coons. And you cry more than I've ever seen you cry before, which is a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing, right? Because that's healing. That's getting out what needs to come out. Sure. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't make you look weak, because you're not. You're one of the strongest people I know.
Thank you.
But it's showing, right, that vulnerability that you wouldn't ever let out before. So the impact of that whole experience, to be alongside of you, for you to trust me enough to be there no matter how I would have thought about you, never once did I think that this guy's crazy. Never once did I see anything bad about this situation. The fear and vulnerability that you were finally allowing to come out and bring up so that you could heal it, to me was the biggest part of this.
Sure. Sure. Well, I remember when, and thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. 20 years ago, whatever it was, I found myself sitting in the Virginia Beach psych ward, detoxing off of prescription pain pills. And the old version of me would say, oh, because the pharmaceutical companies told the doctors that it's not addicting, which they did do. However, at the end of the day, I took the pills. I knew what I was doing. Let's just be honest. And I wanted to check out. And did I think I was going to be where I was going to be? No, but I knew what I was doing. And I remember after that getting into the Narcotics Anonymous program and getting a sponsor and doing steps and sharing at every single meeting and crying at every single meeting. And somebody said to me, why do you cry so much? I'm like, dude, it's the pain leaving my body. I didn't beat up those people and fight and join the Marine Corps because I was well-rounded and healed. That was a trauma response. I joined the Marine Corps because I was angry and I didn't want to be touched anymore, and I didn't want anybody to touch me. So ironically enough, nobody touched me after I did that, and probably would not have anyways, but that's just the journey I chose. And for some reason in that program, when I shared at every single meeting because it helped me feel better, people would say, hey man, you're saying things that I can't say. And I don't say this and do this podcast for ego or anything like that. It helps me feel better. It helps me grow. But I do think that I've helped some people, and which I don't fully understand. I don't think I need to, but I've had a lot of people come to me and said, that thing you said in that episode helped me or gave me an opportunity or changed me or whatever they wanted to say. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. So,
yeah. Well, that's what every single one of these is for, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you're channeling through, a being is coming through you to help you bring up some stuff, right? So that you can heal it. And you might not remember what you said on a previous podcast, so you go back and listen to it, even if you even do that. But those words are being said at that moment for some particular person who's going to listen on that day.
That's right.
And it's going to reach them, and it's going to touch them. And it's either going to provoke them to do what you did and find someone to help them, or those words enough are going to be help lift them. I mean, our words are powerful, right?
They are powerful.
And so we can heal from a distance. We can heal when we don't even know we're healing. And someone's listening to your podcast, they might heal something they don't even know they need to heal because they heard you or someone on your show talk about something that's done amazing things for them.
Yeah.
Right? So you say if you can do one good deed a day, my goodness, you've got like 50 episodes. How many good deeds are you doing? A lot of good deeds.
We're trying.
We're
trying.
A lot.
It's funny. I've been working on the Sunday preach part and doing some of the audio and trying to figure out the intro and the outro. The technology is not working. I can't play it on my phone. I can't play it in my truck because when I edit it on the computer, it doesn't sound great. So you don't really know what it sounds like until it's actually on the system and playing. And so I'll edit it and then go sit in my truck and listen to it, and it sounds different. So almost 100% of the time I've worked on it, there's been issues. So I know I'm doing the right thing because there's something out there not wanting me to get the word out. There's something out there that doesn't want us to connect people with God at a deeper level. And I'm like, all right, no problem. Fuck around and find out. Because I'm a little hard-headed, and when they step up or those energies start to block me in ways like that, I know I'm doing something right. So I'm just going to go even a little bit deeper. So I don't get angry about it anymore. I just do prayers. I call God in, bring his energy in. And all of a sudden, the technology works. It's funny how that works, right?
I love to hear you talk about God.
You too. I never thought I would. I can promise you that.
I would have never believed that you would. I can promise you that too.
Well, when I was like 10 years old, my dad took me down to the Greyhound bus station in Norfolk, Virginia. And it's not the best area, and it definitely wasn't then. And they would put me on the Greyhound bus to go up to see my sister in Richmond, which I love to see my sister, but she didn't cook. You starved the whole time. There was never any food in the refrigerator. But there was this man came up to me. He said, He looked at me, he says, you're going to be a minister. You're going to speak God's word one day. I'll never forget that. And I remember looking at him, and my dad introduced himself to him, and he says, I'm a Baptist minister here in Norfolk. He had this beautiful suit on, this hat, and he had this presence about him, and he had this Bible in his hand. And we never went to church. I mean, I didn't know I didn't know Jesus was a Jew, right? I didn't know that until a few years ago. I knew nothing about church, nothing about the Bible. And I never forgot that, because I felt like that was a defining moment. He planted a seed. God spoke to him and planted that seed for me. And I've remembered that my whole life. It was cool.
It just took you a little longer to grow and blossom.
Yeah, I needed to go through the gauntlet a little bit longer. But Diana, tell people, how can they connect with you if they want to do some work with you? You do teaching and other stuff. How do they find you? So Diana, if people wanted to connect with you, how do they find you?
I have a Facebook page. It's called Hampton Roads and Northeastern North Carolina Reiki Master and Teacher.
You're not analytical at all. I mean, that's the longest name I've ever heard in my life.
It is kind of crazy, because I live in the northern part of North Carolina, in Currituck, but I'm from the Hampton Roads area. So I wanted to make sure that anybody that reached out knew that I could travel right back up here to Virginia, or in the whole area of the Outer Banks, Elizabeth City. I travel.
Yeah. And you can reach out to me at VB Healer on Instagram, or just reach out to the show and we'll connect you. But I wanted to say thank you for being on the show. I love you. Thank you for being my friend for all these years. And I think there's another episode we're going to be doing today, and you're going to be on the show in a couple more weeks too.
Thank you for asking me. I'm sorry it took so long, but the divine timing made it the perfect way to be with you today.
Well, you had a lot going on, but I just want to say I love you, and you're my friend.
I love you very much.
You've been listening to Enlightenment Unknown with Wes Coons, your guide on the quest for self-discovery and the version of you we haven't met yet.